Black CEO denied entry to her own hotel lobby. 8 minutes later, she shut it down. Ma'am, guests only pass this point. This is a private lobby. The sentence was spoken without a hint of hesitation. No pause. No doubt. Just an order familiar repeated so many times it no longer required thought. The man who said it stood tall in front of her, wearing a dark navy security uniform, one hand resting lightly on his radio belt. His face showed no hostility, but also no fairness. Only what's often called a snap judgment, the kind of assessment made with just a glance and a few seconds. Standing before him was a black woman. Not angry, not defensive, just standing there, quietly. She wore a dark cashmere coat, a classic business outfit underneath white blouse, black slacks. In her hand was a small caramel leather handbag, no big brand logo, no flashy jewelry, no special badge, nothing that screamed five-star hotel guest by the guard's internal standards. And so he assumed she doesn't belong here. He had no idea that the woman standing there wasn't just a guest. She was the one who had bought the entire hotel chain 3 weeks ago. She was the CEO of the group that had just taken over Regalia Hotels, and the person ultimately in charge of the very place he was guarding. She didn't need to prove anything. Didn't need to say, "Do you know who I am?" Not a word of protest. Just a gaze, sharp as a blade, cutting through what they called the lobby policy. The way she stood unshaken. The way she stayed silent, not out of submission, but because she was letting them take one step too far. Behind her, a young bar staffer, Chloe 22, was arranging glasses when she happened to witness the scene. She didn't know what was happening, but in the woman's eyes, she saw something familiar, someone who had once been turned away just for not looking like what this place expected. She didn't dare interfere, but she pulled out her phone, turned on the voice recorder. Back at the entrance, the guard still blocked the way. "Ma'am, I'm going to need you to leave the lobby unless you have a reservation or a meeting." She slowly reached into her bag, pulled out an internal scan badge, a card issued only to executive stakeholders. She didn't speak, just raised it. The guard didn't look closely. He glanced, then shook his head. "We don't scan cards not pre-registered. Please exit through the side door." Still no words. She gave a slight nod, not in agreement, but to mark the third time. On the 4th floor inside Regalia's internal data center, a system alert flashed: FOUNDATIONPRESENCEDAT CACASD CINIED ELOCATIONFL a GSONEA. Dilo looked at the alert, opened the security camera feed to verify. As the footage loaded, he held his breath. Oh my God, that's Mrs. Jameson. Back in the lobby. She didn't retreat. Didn't walk away like the hundreds who'd been dismissed before. She gently tapped the side of her smartwatch, a motion nearly invisible to the eye. That single move triggered remote control access, linking directly to Horizon Hospitality's central surveillance hub. The lobby cameras began recording everything from multiple angles. Audio was transmitted to the command center. A silent system came online, precise, without a single warning. 8 minutes later, no sirens, no alarms. No one shouted police or security. Only one soft sound, the magnetic lock clicking shut. Then came a series of system shutdowns. Lobby keycard scanners, motion sensor lights, guest registration screens. All first-floor control devices. The Flagstone Regalia lobby, the symbol of luxury, was fully sealed. Chloe, the bartender, quietly stepped up behind the guard. "Do you know who she is?" she whispered. The guard turned. Chloe held out her phone, the screen showing an article: Avery Jameson, the woman who acquired Regalia Hotels to redefine world-class service. The guard's face went pale. None of them had any idea the woman they had just denied entry was the one holding the keys to this place's future. And the worst part, she didn't need to do anything. She just stood there and let the truth do the rest. This story didn't start with a mistake. It began with a belief system, one that had been repeated for years, that only those who looked like VIP guests deserved to step inside. And that same system dug its own grave this morning. Avery Jameson, 50 years old. Her name was no stranger in the investment world, especially to those following the high-end hospitality industry. She had once been one of the 3 original founders of Horizon Hospitality, a company praised for breaking the mold of the elite class. 3 weeks ago, Avery closed the biggest deal of her career. She bought out the entire Regalia hotels chain, a brand known for lavish architecture and a long history of discriminatory guest treatment. What few people knew was back in 1998, Regalia had refused to let Avery book a room just because she wore jeans and carried a canvas backpack. She never forgot. That morning, Avery returned to Flagstone Regalia, the very branch that once turned her away. No press, no warning, no security detail, just her simply dressed walking into the now acquired lobby. No one recognized her, and that was exactly what she wanted. Because if they didn't know who she was, they'd reveal who they really were. Flagstone Regalia, the crown jewel of the hotel chain. A main lobby lined with ebony wood white marble floors, a crystal chandelier rising through 3 floors. The air diffused with cedar and bergamot lighting, calibrated to 3,200 K to create a feeling of warmth, but not too friendly. Every detail meticulously curated not to welcome guests, but to filter them. The way staff looked at strangers walking in always carried an unspoken question. Do you match this place's vibe? Those in charge of this territory. Trent Holloway, front desk manager, 42. Internal notes strict. Strong brand image control. He prided himself on spotting who belongs here in under 5 seconds. In truth, Trent defined VIPs not by their profiles, but by their clothes, their speech, and the perfume they wore. Olivia, lobby staff, 27. Fashion major turned hospitality worker. She's the type who would chuckle at your shoes even if you just booked the $3 suite for the night. Olivia often said money isn't enough. You need taste. She didn't know that very taste was about to challenge everything she believed. Marcus, lobby, security, 31. Tall, serious, punctual, no nonsense. He followed every line in the security manual to the letter. For Marcus, if a manager pointed, he blocked. If told to escort a guest out, he didn't ask why. At 8:04 a.m., Horizon's central data center in Chicago received an encrypted signal from Avery's internal smartwatch. A message flashed across the control board: FOUNDER, PRESANCED, ECTE, DAC, CSC, DIE, ESESE, NIA, DSL, AGSTONLO, BY. A junior coordinator named Jules mid-coffee. Sip choked all over the desk. Oh my God, who blocked her in the lobby? Jules instantly pulled up the camera feed. Footage of Avery, standing still blocked by Marcus, appeared crystal clear. No one at the command center could understand how it happened. But Avery had planned for this. Back at the lobby, Trent had just been called down by Olivia about a strange guest with an unregistered badge. He walked over, gave Avery a quick once-over. Soft fabric coat. No diamond card. No name on the reservation list. Trent turned to Olivia, speaking loudly enough for Avery to hear some people think they can go anywhere just by dressing nicely. But this isn't a shopping mall. This is Regalia. Avery still said nothing. A young housekeeper nearby, a girl named Lynn of Vietnamese descent, froze. She recognized Avery from the Horizon founder profile shown last week. She quietly stepped back, gripping her cleaning cloth. She didn't dare say anything, but her heart pounded. If these people knew who she was, would they behave differently? And if so, did they deserve to be the face of hospitality at all? Avery stood her ground, unshaken. She didn't need to raise her voice to be heard. In the next 8 minutes, the very lobby that once deemed her unworthy would be sealed off to begin a silent reformation. Flagstone Regalia, 8:07 a.m. The air in the main lobby was thick with the scent of bergamot and cedarwood. Heels tapped rhythmically against white marble, blending with the notes of a self-playing grand piano hidden in the ceiling speaker system. Guests stood in line waiting to check in. Everything appeared perfect. Until Avery Jameson stepped in. She didn't draw attention, no elaborate hairstyle, no luxury watch, no entourage. Just a black woman, simply dressed, walking up to the front desk, presenting an internal authentication card, the kind issued only to high-level executive shareholders. Olivia glanced at the card for less than 2 seconds. No questions. No verification. She tilted her head slightly, then turned to Marcus, the lobby guard, and nodded. Just one nod. Marcus immediately stepped forward, positioning himself directly in front of Avery, like a living gate. His voice wasn't loud, but it was clear, carrying that trained distance. I'm sorry, this area is for guests with appointments or VIP members only. Please return to the main entrance. Avery didn't frown, didn't look surprised. She simply raised her card again and offered a faint smile. You can scan this card. Marcus looked at it. But instead of scanning, he glanced at Olivia. Olivia stepped forward, arms crossed, took half a step ahead, and said politely, calmly, but with clear intent, we reserve the right to deny entry to individuals who do not meet the criteria for this lobby. Security will assist if needed. No one shouted, but the words landed in the space like a silent slap. Avery didn't respond, didn't step back. She lowered her hand, returned the card to her coat pocket. The movement was slow, intentional. She remained still, as if waiting for them to take one step too far. A Canadian tourist nearby sipping coffee suddenly stared at Avery. His face changed. He looked down, pulled out his phone, and searched the name he'd seen last month in Forbes' Top Businesswoman of the Year list. Avery Jameson, CEO of Horizon Hospitality, the one who bought Regalia Hotels, the new owner of the entire chain, including Flagstone. He began recording, didn't say a word. At the same time, on the 3RD floor inside the hotel's secure data operations wing, a supervisor named Laura received an automatic alert: FOUNDER, ACCESSD, ENIADLOC, a TION, FLAGSTONEREGALIA. A red-coded alert triggered only when a founder is blocked by security systems. Lara flinched, not because of a technical fault, but because someone had just challenged the wrong person. She opened the camera feed. On screen, the image appeared: Avery standing before Marcus and Olivia, hands calmly folded in front of her eyes, unsettlingly composed. No arguments, no excess movement, just waiting. Waiting for those people to sink deeper into the trap they set for themselves. Waiting for the system to witness the truth, unedited. And waiting for the right moment to close a door that was never meant to open for the wrong people. In the corner of the lobby, a black boy around 12 years old was playing a game on his iPad. He looked up at the scene, tugged at his mother's sleeve. Mom, why are they not letting her in? His mother, in a business coat holding coffee, froze. She didn't answer, just squeezed his hand a little tighter. Trent Holloway, front desk manager, appeared after a few quick phone calls. He didn't recognize the name Avery, but seeing that things were drawing attention, he decided to shut it down early. He walked over, stood beside Olivia and Marcus, and spoke in a gentle tone. Ma'am, I believe there's been a misunderstanding, but we'll need you to leave the lobby to ensure space for our active guests. Avery looked him straight in the eye. You're asking me to leave the hotel that I own? No one answered. The air froze. 8:11 a.m. On Horizon's central system, a command was triggered: CEOOVERSIGHTMOD ELOBBYFLAG CONEA CTIV EMO and ITO RYNA BLUAE. Every camera, mic, and electronic device began recording every moment in the lobby. The data was stored, backed up, and streamed directly to the CEO's office in Chicago. And this was only the beginning. 8:12 a.m., Flagstone Regalia lobby. No explanation. No argument. Avery simply tapped the inside of her left wrist, just below a sleek, elegant watch, that most assumed was only for telling time. In truth, it was a biometric authentication device issued only to those holding Founder Trust Alpha status in the Horizon system. Just one touch. And at the Horizon Coordination Center in Manhattan, the emergency signal was immediately received FOUNDAROVE, ERRID, ELO, CATION, FLAGS, TIOIOA, ALRI, PYRIUAD, IAIAD. All cameras, microphones, location trackers, and lobby data were activated to record and stream directly to Central Command. Noelle, the morning shift supervisor, stared at the blinking red alert. She had never seen this level of priority triggered. One clear thought echoed in her mind. Someone at Flagstone just touched the wrong person. Back at the lobby, the schedule display monitors began flickering. The check-in system temporarily disconnected. Some devices at the reception desk started glitching. Trent Holloway returned clearly agitated. He had handled hundreds of lobby incidents, but rarely had unfamiliar tech interfered with his domain. He quickly asked Olivia what's going on. Who is she? Where did she come from? Olivia, sensing something was off, replied softly. She's not in the VIP list. But I think someone called her Jameson. Trent nodded, took a step forward. His expression turned cold. Ma'am, I don't know who you think you are, but if you don't leave the lobby immediately, I will have security escort you out. This is a luxury hotel. Avery didn't answer. Didn't step back. Didn't step forward. She simply nodded as if acknowledging that the warning had now been issued. And at that exact moment, the ceiling speaker came on. Founder override in progress. Ownership verification, Avery Jameson. Transferring control of Flagstone lobby. No one understood what was happening. Trent looked up, face pale as chalk. Olivia stepped back, lips parted, but no words came. Marcus, the security guard who had first blocked Avery, tugged at his earpiece and asked she's the one who bought the whole system. No one answered. But a nearby guest, a Norwegian journalist en route to a conference, whispered in stunned disbelief, "Oh my God, she's not a guest. She OWNS this building." A young Indian woman named Mira, a trainee on her very first day, stood near the elevator. She had just finished her MBA in hospitality management. She had chosen Regalia because she believed it stood for professionalism and dignity. But now she was watching a woman be rejected at the very place she owned. Mira lowered her gaze. Tears welled in her eyes. Not from fear, but from the aching familiarity of being judged for how you look, what you're named, and the color of your skin. Trent swallowed hard. He was about to speak, but suddenly the magnetic door just behind Avery locked shut. The screen lit up with a message: SECURIT, YLOCKDOWNAXE, CUTIVEOV, ERID, EEAIE, EPRISEST, ANDBY. The entire lobby paused. A few guests pulled out their phones to record. Someone whispered, "Is this part of a publicity stunt?" An older woman shook her head. "No, sweetheart. That woman is not acting. She's in control. And we're all just catching up." Marcus slowly stepped forward. He asked Avery one simple question. "Ma'am, I'm sorry if there's been a mistake. Are you really?" Avery turned to him, her eyes calm, not angry. She spoke slowly. "I don't need everyone to know who I am. I just need everyone to understand what's right." At Horizon Command Center, Noelle issued the final protocol order: initiate emergency evaluation procedure. Branch FLAG, STO, NERE, GALIA Directive Lead FO, UNDERAVE, ARIA, YJAM, ESO, N815, AM Flagstone, Regalia Lobby. A faint flicker appeared above. Then another. Then all the ceiling lights began pulsing like the heartbeat of a system about to be exposed. Olivia looked up first. Trent, the lights are. Before she could finish, every screen at the front desk went black. All at once, every display shut down. Then a single line appeared, white text, striking like a pulse across the dark: FOUNDART. USTILPHAFULOVEIARIDA No one screamed. No one spoke. The air just stilled. All eyes locked on Avery, the only person who hadn't moved. The glass entrance doors auto-locked. The elevators froze. The internal navigation systems disconnected. It was as if some unseen force had just broken the spine of the order Regalia had proudly clung to. Trent Holloway swallowed hard, his hand trembling as he reached for the internal phone. No signal. He switched to contacting the tech department through the management app. The screen displayed a single message, a CCESS, TEMPORARIOY, SUSPE, EDU, USERT, HOLLO, WOYREASON, CEOOVERRIDE. He turned to Avery, trying to keep his voice steady. "Ma'am, how did you?" But the sentence was cut off by a female voice echoing from the ceiling speakers. "The Flagstone Regalia lobby is temporarily closed for restructuring. All current management personnel have been stripped of operational control until further verification from the Horizon office." Marcus, the security guard, took a step back. The digital watch on his wrist vibrated non-stop with a red alert: cease all enforcement actions. "Please remain in place." He said nothing, just removed his earpiece, and for the first time looked at Avery, not as a subject under surveillance, but as a human being. A Japanese tourist live streaming with his phone murmured she never raised her voice, she just shut the whole place down with her presence. In the corner, the trainee Mira was in tears. She couldn't believe what she was witnessing. She had studied leadership in textbooks, but had never seen power wielded this silently, this gracefully. Avery still stood in the same spot, not a single step taken. No smile, no expression. She simply pulled out her phone and swiped a single command. The screen displayed CONFIRMSHUTDO WNFLA GSTONLOBYYESAXE All Y. She tapped. Within seconds, the entire lobby froze in silence. No one spoke. No one argued. Even Trent, who once prided himself on being the gatekeeper, stood frozen like a schoolboy caught cheating. Then the female voice returned one last time, founder override complete. Flagstone Lobby is now under reassessment. Control has been fully transferred to Horizon's executive office. Avery turned to Marcus, her gaze free of malice, just a simple acknowledgement of truth. "I don't need anyone to remember who I am. I just need them to remember today." "Mom, is she a superhero?" The mother, eyes still fixed on Avery, softly replied, "No, sweetie. She's something even rarer. She's justice in real life." 48 hours after the incident at Flagstone Regalia, no dramatic firings, no media frenzy. Avery Jameson didn't call lawyers. She didn't demand immediate terminations. Instead, she convened a private meeting between Horizon's senior leadership and the entire staff at Flagstone, right there in the same lobby that had been shut down just 2 days earlier. The reception desk now stood bare. Technical systems had been reset. No one stood behind the desk. They sat in a circle. No ranks. No one standing. No one reading from a lifeless report. Just faces, mostly staff, many of whom were sitting for the first time in a place once considered off-limits, unless you wore the right uniform or your name tag was perfectly positioned. Avery entered. No fanfare. No cameras. Just a gray cardigan, soft trousers, and flats. No sign of the CEO, who had just dismantled an entire hierarchy. Just a woman walking in to remind them this story doesn't end with a firing. "I didn't come here to teach anyone a lesson. I came to ask one question. How can we build a 5-star hotel if people don't feel like human beings from the very first second they walk in?" No one answered. Olivia looked down. Trent sat in silence, fingers interlocked, no longer the commanding figure who once issued orders in the lobby. Marcus, the security guard who had blocked Avery, was the first to stand up. His voice was rough when he spoke. "I didn't recognize you." But I also didn't try to understand who you were. I just followed directions. And now I see that's the most dangerous thing of all. Avery nodded gently. No judgment. She simply asked, "Are you willing to learn again?" Marcus nodded firmly, not to keep my job, but to never close my eyes again. A housekeeper, Lena, whispered to the person next to her, "This is the first time I've seen a leader who didn't need to raise her voice, and yet the whole room listened." That very day, the Respect First retraining program was launched, starting at Flagstone Regalia and set to expand across the entire Horizon chain nationwide. Marcus was the first to enroll voluntarily. Olivia and Trent were temporarily suspended pending reassessment. But no one was publicly shamed. There were no viral videos. Not a single tweet from Avery. 3 days later, during a small press briefing in the now reopened lobby, a new plaque was placed next to the reception desk with just one simple line: "We don't ask who you are. We only need to know you deserve respect." A young reporter, hands still shaking while holding the mic, asked Avery, "Why did you choose to respond by shutting down the lobby instead of directly retaliating?" Avery smiled. Her eyes were not bitter, just tired and clear, because if a place that calls itself a hotel can't welcome a human being without checking what they're wearing or where they're from, then it never understood what hospitality means. Final emotional drop with lingering weight. A child walked through the lobby holding their parents' hands. They paused to read the plaque, then turned to their mother and asked, "Mom, what does it mean?" The mother bent down, whispered, "It means you matter." Even if no one sees it yet. The story ends, not with a door slammed shut, but with another one opening for everyone who had ever been shut out.